Here we are, back for another week of True Talk with Coach Mincy, live from the Bono's Barbecue at Merrill Road and 295. Come on out. Join us for an hour of Jacksonville men's basketball talk as the Dolphins stay hot this past week. Plenty to talk about. An exciting week of Jacksonville basketball in the rear view and another one straight ahead in the windshield as we head our way on the road this coming week for a couple of contests as well. Time to welcome in the star of the show, head coach Jordan Mincy. Coach, great to be with you here again tonight. Great to be talking about wins again here tonight.
Absolutely.
It always feels a little bit better when we're talking about victories at this point to set the stage for people. Dolphins are winners of 5 consecutive games, are sitting there at through 6 games of league play, have won all but one of them and are tied for first in the ASUN standings as we look right now. So looking into this, 5 wins in a row, they've all looked a little bit different in how they have played out. But what do you think has been the most consistent element for your team over this successful streak that you've had?
You know what? We constantly are challenge our guys about their approach. You know, we talked on our last show just about, hey, winning the stretch, winning the small things, winning the night. You know, that's one of the major things that we keep preaching to our guys is, when the normal person hears, what do they mean by win the night? Well, are you taking care of your body? Are you getting rest? Are you making sure you're doing your academics, but at the same time, you're setting your alarm clock so you can get up and get your shots and get the extra workout that you need. And so we're just all about winning right now. That's our mentality. It's not a daily thing. It's every minute, every second thing.
Does school being back now, does that help with that a little bit in controlling that what's going on a daily basis, or because of the fact that they do have to spend a little more time focusing on the academics and stuff? I mean, they had basically over a month where they were just basketball players.
Yeah, you know what, JU, it's a cheat code. We have the opportunity for about a month and a half to really hone in, and I always challenge our guys, hey, if you want to be a pro, then you have the opportunity to work on your game. We're out of school, you have unlimited gym access, and so we're able to really hone in ourselves, but also hone in on our team as a whole. And so just being able to talk to our guys, let them know, yes, school's in. The thing that we love about school being in is our fan base. We got students that other side, they're packed, and they rowdy as, people can see that come in, and especially in ASUN play, we need all their energy day in and day out.
And we got to see that on display this past week with school being back in session. That meant packed student sections and a packed house in Swisher both days. And, boy, it felt like it, too, in certain moments, whether it was late in that North Alabama win when you sort of needed the crowd to egg you on in a close one, or to kind of get the team going there to pull away at times in that Central Arkansas game as well.
Yeah, talking to both the opposing coaches, one of the things that they had raving reviews about was our crowd. And, they were kind of shocked. And, to be able to know that we have such a good home record at Swisher, a lot of times people don't understand it's our fan base, it's the community, it's the students, it's everybody who shows the love and the support for our young men. And we're just so appreciative of the effort and energy that they give us.
Yeah, Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks, he had a tweet on Saturday after the game. He's like, hey, look at what JU's doing. Winning at home, that's what they do. But a huge part of that is not just you all as a team, but it is the complete buy-in and how it is a collective effort from the community.
Absolutely. The community as a whole, they really rally around this team, and we try to do our best to make sure we're active in the community and active on campus.
Isn't that nice, though, that people, they're just like, oh, JU wins at home. It's just what they do. Isn't it nice that feels like a thing that people expect now?
You know what? We use the word family all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so family, one of the biggest things you love to come home. And so we want Swisher to be a place where people call home. We want it to be a place where, families can come back and visit, and different generations can have memories in Swisher Gymnasium.
Certainly making some memories so far this year. Okay, so for this team, we just talked about it, hot, winning some games. But you mentioned it a little bit in the postgame on Saturday. It's never a finished product and never a journey that has reached its conclusion, especially we're still here in mid-January, starting to get toward late January, but still early in conference play. So what is the biggest thing that you all are working on right now to ensure that you're tightening it up going forward?
The one thing that we've had a different approach, our staff, after the non-conference season, they really challenged me going into the conference and said, hey, Coach, we really need to worry about ourselves. We watch so much film, and we're so prepared for the other team that they felt like at times we're losing our own identity. And so for me, you go back, you go through your practice plan, you say to yourself, how can I make sure that our guys know who we are? Let's be confident in who we are, preach confidence, and at the same time understand, yeah, we're getting prepared for the team, but we're really just trying to make sure that we limit our mistakes when we go live.
And whereas they say this about sports a lot, right? Like if you find yourself out there thinking, then you're just going to be a step behind, right? It's got to be instinctual. You have to learn, you have to study, but
Yes.
It's got to feel instinctual when you're out there on the floor.
Yeah, one of the things, it's funny that you say that. One of our players actually texted one of our assistant coaches, and he was talking about the new plays and the sets that we had put in. And he was saying, hey, I just need to know my timing on this set, or where does my spacing need to come on this set? And I said to myself, the game isn't even going on right now, and this guy is thinking right now instead of playing off his natural ability. And so as a coach, you have to take a step back and understand, you know what, let's simplify. Let's let these guys play off their natural skill set. Let's trust one another. And as a head coach, you got to have more trust in those guys and let them know, hey, I got your back. Go out there and make plays.
Is there a better example of that actually working than seeing scoring on a consistent basis in transition when you get a stop on defense and your guys are able to get out and run the floor? It feels like they score almost every time they get an opportunity to do that here as of late.
Yeah, the one thing that, I told them after our first loss, I said, hey, look, guys, that's on me. And I want to make sure that I tell you, I'm going to have a certain amount of things that I'm going to ask for you. But all I'm going to tell you is you guys are going to have freedom on offense. As long as you play unselfish, you play with heart, and you give me everything that you have on the defensive end, I'm going to let you guys go. And they all looked at me, and I could see instantly within the room, everybody was kind of alleviated and said, oh, man, this is awesome. And we came out and played Austin Peay, and ever since then, that's been our approach.
Yeah, it shouldn't feel like a burden.
I know.
It should just be fun,
Yes.
and it certainly looked like that here over the last several weeks. He's head coach Jordan Mincy. I'm Scott Manzi. This is True Talk with Coach Mincy, live from Bono's Barbecue on Merrill Road and 295. We are here every Monday now through the end of the season, end of February. Come on out, join us if you're out and about and you're looking for a dinner. They got $1 off. Barbecue salads on Monday night as their special, and, it's some of the best barbecue in town, right? Bono's Barbecue. So plan to join us for one of these nights. Stop by, say hello, ask Coach a question, anything that you might like to do, and we'd love to see you out here. We're handing out free desserts as well for anybody who's in attendance coming out to these, so a little perk for stopping by as well. Coming up on the show, we're going to be diving into what is coming up as far as the games this week as Jacksonville heads back out on the road. Going to take a look at some other sporting events going on around JU's campus. Next segment, we've got Sha'Carri Mack joining us. We're going to talk about her role with the team. Not unfamiliar to JU, but certainly in a new role with your program and has really helped elevate things too. So looking forward to chatting with her. But we've got a few more minutes here in this first segment, and I want to talk a little more about what's gone on here over the last this past week. Jacksonville back at home, wins a couple of games, is home, as we mentioned before. Two different style wins. Very different in how they sort of played out. And that one on Saturday, you talked about how you had a chance really to, it's a 22-point lead with 4 minutes to play, and it feels like one where it's like, all right, Hayes in the barn, let's go home. And next thing you know, Central Arkansas is making it a little more interesting than it probably wanted to feel like, certainly for those in attendance, and I'm sure you all on the bench. You talked about being able to use that as a teaching moment for these guys and how they handle themselves in those types of situations and late-game situations when you have a big lead. How has the team responded to that?
The one thing that I asked our guys after Central Arkansas, I said to them, are we trying to be elite or are we just trying to be good?
Yeah.
And, a lot of them gave me the generic answer like, oh, yeah, Coach, we want to be elite. We're winning, Coach. What do you mean? And I said to them and challenged them, yeah, there's a way to win, but there's also a way to win at an elite level. An elite level team puts that team away. They get a 15-point lead. They extend that lead. They don't have, attitude or emotional problems because you anticipate a team is down. They're going to press. They're going to become more physical. They'll try to get after you and cause you to turn the ball over. And so those are the things that we have to prepare ourselves for mentally and physically. And once we have that level of toughness, we'll get to that next level where we're an elite team. But right now we're good, which is encouraging because we still have room to grow.
Well, it's easier to get to a lead if you started good, right? So you're there. It's just a matter of taking that next step, learning those lessons, figuring out how to handle yourselves in certain spots. Now, on Thursday, much closer game throughout. That was a nip-tuck affair, lead changes left, right, and center, and you find a way really to just kind of display some fortitude at the end, some toughness throughout. How do you think your team showed how they can handle a physical, tough type game?
Well, it was a game that was first fun to be a part of, right?
Yeah.
You got a lot of first-team all-league guys on the roster on both teams. And so
Absolutely.
to be able to, have a game that was that intense, to be able to say on both ends, defensively, offensively, we knew we're two of the best rebounding teams in the league, and we knew our front court was going to have a challenge. We saw their front court the game before, and they were excellent. And so just be able to know that we closed out a game, opponent like UNA, who's well coached and has, like I said, elite players, it was encouraging for our guys.
A little taste of like postseason feel there. I mean, with the quality of an opponent, with the tightness of a game, with the physicality of the game. Is that something you can harken back on later on in the season as you're hopefully preparing for a run through conference tournament play?
Absolutely. You talk about being prepared, and the one thing as a coach, the one thing you always want is film. Like, film doesn't lie. A lot of times our guys,
Yeah.
even though we're, in the middle of conference, these guys are still looking at you like, oh, you're wrong. And so the one thing about film, it's always right. There's not a wrong answer. And so to be able to have questions to say, hey, why did we miss this free throw line blockout? Why did we foul this guy with 2.9 seconds on the clock? Have we discussed fouling in these situations and understanding time and score? And so being able to quiz them and get them to understand, and then reliving those moments in practice and seeing can they execute it, that's encouraging for our staff.
How do you keep a win streak, which is a positive thing on the surface, obviously? How do you keep that from potentially having a negative effect on a team?
Well, when you win, it's natural to become comfortable. It's natural to hear the praise and different people telling you how good you are. And so a lot of times, that's why when you play at Central Arkansas, those games are kind of a trap game.
Yeah.
That's what we discussed with our team. And so my biggest thing is I'm trying to challenge them. Every day I'm staying the same. I'm telling them about blocking out the noise. I'm telling them, we haven't reached our potential yet. We have to continue to grow. We have to continue to go at one another. We have to continue to challenge each other mentally and physically to understand if we want to do great things and we want to win at an elite level, then we have to understand where we're trying to go. And that's, like I said, win the stretch, win the rebound award. Whatever we can do, we're trying to win it.
But you are still trying to enjoy a little bit of the ride here, right? While it is enjoyable to win games.
Hey, you sound like Letitia Mincy, my wife. My wife, literally, we get done meeting after the UCA game, and she's in the office with us, and she's like, "Hey guys, make sure y'all take time to enjoy this win." And I look at her, I'm like, "Hey, we're on to the next one." I'm asking for my folder on West Georgia. I'm asking about what's the travel for this upcoming week, and so. We enjoy it. We understand, you do have to know that every win is a blessing, but at the same time, we're so hungry to get to the next one.
Yeah, and I don't know how there are an element of certain guys who were on last year's team and had sort of a taste of what that was like at the end of last year, right? To put together something and see the fruits of labor realized in a tournament setting, and then end up so close to having a chance to play for an NCAA tournament bid. Do you feel like there's any sort of a remembrance of that for those guys who were a part of it last year and helping them stay focused in this kind of stuff?
Well, you know what? The great thing about having experience in guys who are returners, right? A guy like Rob McCray. Yeah. Once we won our first road game in league, he walks up to me and says, "Hey, one hurdle crossed." And so being able to understand, he knew how important that was because of the season we had before where we were winless on the road in conference. He understands, yeah, Coach, I know we can protect home, but at the same time, we need to make sure we go get road wins.
Yep.
And that shows progress. That shows, development. It shows guys who understand, that league play is every game matters. And so I think you see that the way we close out these games recently. And I think you've seen that with the effort and the change of emotions from all of our guys down the line.
Absolutely. It's been impressive to watch it on display. Some big road tests coming up this week for Jacksonville men's basketball, as well as the team heads up north to face West Georgia on Thursday, and then Queens on Saturday. We'll get into the specifics of those matchups coming up here on the program as well. Just getting started on a Monday night, live from Bono's Barbecue on Merrill Road and 295. And in our next segment, we'll get a chance to catch up with Sha'Carri Mack, listen to what her role role is, how she is growing, helping expand the impact of Jacksonville men's basketball in the community, as well as connecting with the fans of the program. That's coming up next. You're listening to True Talk with Coach Mincy, live here on 1010XL. Back at Bono's Barbecue as True Talk with Coach Mincy rolls along here on a Monday night. We're taking you up until 7 o'clock here this evening with plenty of Jacksonville men's basketball talk. And we're excited. This team is hot right now, has won 5 straight games, is tied for first in the Atlantic Sun Conference, 3 weeks through the conference season. It's been a joy to watch, and one of the people that has helped bring that joy to the masses is joining us now in Sha'Carri Mack. Sha'Carri, thank you for joining us here on the program tonight.
Of course. I'm blessed to be here. It's a pleasure.
Well, you are someone who I've known for a few years now, and I know that you do good work. And seeing
Scott, you hired me.
Okay, well, you know what? I wasn't going to be that blatant about it, but sure, yeah. All right, I'll take a little credit for that.
Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Scott.
Well,
just to clarify.
There were some good phone conversations that led to Sha'Carri coming to join us at JU a couple of years ago, and I find myself very happy that it worked out that way because you've now grown from your role that I hired you for to a role that you have certainly earned and grown into with the men's basketball program in particular. So what attracted you to being able to do something here with Coach Mincy, with the program, to be able to kind of take that next step in your journey in this world?
Yeah, I think it was just the faith that Coach Mincy had in me from the beginning. I think, like, initially he saw my ability, he saw my talent, he saw how I, grew from when I first got to JU in that GA role to kind of just, like, elevating as a professional. And off rip, he was just like, I want you to be a part of the program, and I want you to help grow the program. And, like, I'm forever indebted to him because of that. It's not often that you see someone who, like, values you as a creative, because there's a lot of things that go into being a creative. And I think that I'm just very appreciative that he saw that. And so as soon as he saw that and actually did, like, take a chance with me, I was like, oh, I'm going all in. I'm going all in. It's just there's no question about it. So that's kind of how it came full circle too, especially with me being from Jacksonville. I have just a different love for the city and building the program, and also to be working alongside Coach Mincy while he's building this empire is amazing.
It sounds somewhat similar to my own journey being a Jacksonville native and loving to see the school with the name of the city that I grew up in do the great things, and other people notice it, and that sense of pride that comes with people recognizing it. Coach, for you, seeing Sha'Carri and her work over the last couple of years, and she was in the creative services department, but was kind of contributing to a bunch of different teams at JU, where were you like, you know what, I think this is an opportunity for us to take our next step, and this is who I want to be able to do it?
So, the first thing that really stood out about Sha'Carri was how she is as a person. She often had a limited amount of time, but the time that she did have, she was always trying to help people. And it just wasn't, doing a graphic or shooting a video. It was sitting down and just making sure people were okay, make sure our guys were okay. And oftentimes just checking on me, making sure that I was good. And so that was the first thing that really stood out, her as a person. And then, her work speaks for itself. Her, her vision, how gifted she is. We're extremely blessed to have her to be part of our program and the light that she's put us in. But again, it's not just the social media posts. It's not just the community outreach. It's just her presence, being around our guys, being around our staff as a whole. She's just a very impressive person.
I'm not sure, and I can speak to this because I watched it firsthand for many, many years, but I'm not sure how many people truly understand the amount of hours and focus and time it takes to do the stuff that people – not to boil it down, but, you stop for 10 seconds on Instagram and you take a look at that pictures or the video and you're like, cool, and then you move on to the next thing. But the work that goes into making that 10-second stop is much greater than that. And I've been blessed to see a lot of great people come through Jacksonville University in that role and advance on to do great things beyond that. And so, Sha'Carri, great to see you as another person to take that next step. And to be in a situation now at JU, in a spot where other people have left JU to go on to a Duke or Duke, multiple people, or we've seen many big programs that have lured away our creatives over the years. We sent people to the Charlotte Hornets of the NBA. It's been very cool to see, but a lot of times people have to leave in order to get those opportunities. So for you to be able to carve out a spot and recognize a chance here at JU, stay here and grow like that, what has that experience been like?
Oh, that means a lot to me. I feel like what you do with little tells a lot about yourself as well, and I think my ability to just make a lot of things shake with the little that we do have, and we're growing, and things are going to continue to grow as other people start to get more aware of what it takes to market a program at a high level. And you want high level athletes, you got to do high level things. So I feel like being a part of a program that's in that beginning stages of kind of like grasping and understanding all that it takes to run a thorough marketing department or to just build a brand. I think that's what really I have pride in, is building the brand and managing how the community views us, managing how others view us, because that's the biggest thing. And it's a family-friendly event. It's things that people need to come out to enjoy and to know that the city has something positive to offer. We're winning. Things are amazing. And this is the brick-by-brick time that I feel like people need to be invested in this program and what we're doing. So it's beautiful just building that. And I think that me going to a bigger name or the pros, my impact won't necessarily be what my impact is right now.
Yeah.
So I take so much pride in my reach and what I'm able to extend right now, my network, and just bringing, our name to other people in different areas like that, different, restaurants, and just getting us out there. It's exciting.
All right, so share some of that with us. What you have been doing in order to you have a community outreach role in what you're doing. It's not just shooting video and photo. How have you tried to grow from the grassroots level the awareness of Jacksonville men's basketball?
Yeah, absolutely. So I first started photography, videography, graphics, doing all of that. Now, I love it. And I wouldn't stop. But now I'm trying to make chess moves and do things that are
checkers to chess.
Yes,
at this point.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm trying to be, in charge of what will make the most impact in the community and for the guys. Ultimately, I think, especially with NIL and just deals and just different ways that people can buy into the program too. Jacksonville just has a lot to offer. And, for example, bringing the guys in different arenas where they might have never been before.
Yeah.
Like being able to take some of the guys to their first NFL, football game, to see the Jags and, they're holding the flag on the field and they're getting these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities and they're just like in shock or just loving it or just like crazy. We drove a party bus to the game. So it's just like, utilizing my different connections and then, even Golden Eagle Transportations, which is the transportation that took us from campus to the game, that was free of charge. That was just, a community, that was a service for service thing. So it's like to see other people willing to do, willing to just go out of their way to provide us an experience and we just help market them. It's just like amazing, and it's just like the opportunities are endless and this is just the beginning. And so really reaching out to other businesses and other individuals who have that name or who have that reach or who have that impact in the city already, it's closer than we think.
Sure,
and I think that closed mouths just don't get fed. So a lot of, mouths just have to open in order to make things happen.
It's been something that has sort of been percolating for a long time. It's just now being able to strike while the iron's hot in certain situations. Coach, for you, so much of college athletics these days is not just coaching. You don't just draw up the X's and O's. You got to do and care about so much more than that to be successful. So while I understand that you have surrounded yourself with some great people to allow for you to not have to put your hands in every 5 seconds to control everything, and you do a nice job of entrusting the people that you employ to do their roles. So how have you tried to set things up for Sha'Carri and others to have success in their roles while also making sure that, hey, my vision and the total vision for the program gets realized?
So, when you speak about, Sha'Carri, she's the person that meets with the recruits on their visits. She's the one that actually explains the vision because she sees it. She can put it through a camera lens. She can talk about the day in, day out of just being a person, being a student athlete at JU. And so, like I said, we're so blessed to have her because of her vision, her reach, and she loves the city of Jacksonville. I mean, she talks about, so many different venues, so many different people that associate with different areas just outside of sports. And so for our guys, there's life after basketball. So if you want that type of connection, she's the person who can connect you with that person you need to be connected to if you don't want to play basketball once your time at JU is over. And so just being able to know that somebody cares about you like that, somebody wants the best for you, it's awesome. And again, she's helped with recruiting so much. She's helped with building our brand as a basketball program. And a lot of times, recruits come in and say, man, y'all social media is rocking, coach. And I'm like, if you guys knew the amount of time that Sha'Carri puts in to building our brand in every single detail, every graphic, every video that she's changing, like, you would be amazed.
Sha'Carri, you're a former player yourself. How much does that help you in your understanding of how to relate and establish and things like that, having played basketball at a high level in college?
Yeah, it's huge because I know about the transition after the ball stops bouncing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when I navigate this creative space, that was my outlet when the ball stopped bouncing for me. So I feel like in order for me to be able to tell the story of these guys and to provide kind of just a different vision of their blessed opportunity that they have, I think that'll make them understand how privileged they are to be in such a program that cares about them, that wants to lift them up to the next level. And then when they look back at it, they're going to be like, oh, wow, like if that ball keeps bouncing, Lord, carry them. If not, now
right.
They have to pivot and they have to figure things out, but they will never forget the life lessons that basketball taught them. And basketball taught me, so much. I never thought I was going to be able to get, school paid for. I got both my degrees paid for through basketball being my ticket, carrying me through different seasons in life that have brought me, to the opportunities that I did. And without it, who knows where I would, be. And the same things with these guys. Like, without this being your priority right now, you could be anywhere doing anything that's not productive, but you're doing something that, you're a leader. You're being looked up to. So take it into consideration every day that someone's watching you, and every decision that you make is going to have a consequence, whether it's a good one or a bad one. But I think the biggest thing is that basketball teaches you a lot about life. And being able to grasp that sooner than later, I think it'll make the transition easier into adulthood, because college is the easy part.
Coach, you probably couldn't have said it any better yourself there, right? I mean, that sounded exactly like a Jordan Mincy type. Hey, listen, this is about more than basketball type of speech, and that's what is what I've noticed, especially with the guys that have been a part of the program for a while. I mean, most notably, Robert McRae coming back is the one that gets the headlines, but there's plenty of other guys that stay in this program for years in a landscape in which guys don't stay in programs for years anymore. It's difficult to convince them that 1, 2, 3, 4 years in this system is going to help you not just as a player, right, but as a human being, as a person, and what you can get out of that. So I'm sure this is helping in a lot of ways show them the full well-roundedness of what Jacksonville University men's basketball can offer.
Yeah, it is. We talk about a lot of times, especially in recruiting, it's not about the bushes in the buildings. It's about the people that impact your life on a daily basis. And so Sha'Carri is just, one of a long line of people that we have on staff. But it just speaks to the quality of the people that we have surrounding our young men. And like I said, our number one priority is to make sure that they're able to navigate life, is able to understand that, yeah, we're going to have X and O's, we're going to win and have a lot of losses. But at the same time, my biggest win in life is to make sure that those guys end up graduating, they end up becoming great fathers, they end up becoming great husbands, and ultimately they can live life the way they need to live life.
All right, Sha'Carri, last question for you. This is something that plagued me for years in my role at JU. How do you stay on top of the ever-changing trends in media?
I can't do it to the extent that I do it without the team, and being able to cultivate that environment with them to keep them in the loop, because just by Coach Mincy bringing me in and allowing me to cultivate, more of a leadership position, I can't execute everything at a high level just by myself, especially when I told you I'm trying to make more chess moves. So a lot of the stuff I can't necessarily flip a video, as quick as CJ or Walker. I can't update, Instagram, but Henry helps me with everything. Maddie helps me with everything. Like, just shout out to them, a few of our interns, Maddie and ISO as well. Like, I'm just super grateful for the team. And, we meet on it. We always stay up to date. We always make sure each other's We're not overloading each other. We're doing what we can at the capacity at which we can. So it is at a high level, and I'm just grateful for them. And now I'm able to really, trust that they'll just, flourish in whatever their strength is. And I'm just like, let's do it. Let's rock out. I'm with you guys. I'm supporting you guys. I'm uplifting you guys. And they do the same for me. And without that, I wouldn't be able to balance, because this is not my only obligation. This is something that I enjoy to do, but I do have other places in which I'm having to show up. I'm having to create. I'm having to work. So I can't do it without the team behind me.
Takes an army. And,
it does.
And if what do they say? You feed a man a fish, he's fed for one night. You teach a man to fish, he'll be fed for the rest of his life. So, that is probably the best example of how if you teach and empower, you can get a lot of good stuff done, especially if you have the right people around you. And it certainly seems like you've been a great addition to this staff and what Coach Mincy's building with Jacksonville men's basketball now in year 4. Crazy to think that it's year 4 at this point in time. I feel like your introductory press conference was yesterday. But it's been great to see kind of the growth. It's not always linear, but that's how life works, right? Up and down a little bit at times, but certainly trending in the right direction now. Sha'Carri, thanks for joining us here. It's been fascinating to learn more about your role and your growth in this role. And, well, of course, it's great to see you again, too.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome job.
All right, Sha'Carri Mack joining us here as our special guest. Coach Mincy and I are back for the third and final segment here in a couple of minutes, as we'll dive into a few more things before we conclude things in this next edition of True Talk with Coach Mincy. We're live at Bono's Barbecue, Merrill Road in 295, taking you up until 7 o'clock here tonight on 1010XL. Special shout out to Anthony Silvera on the ones and twos back at the 1010XL studios tonight, keeping us entertained on the bump music, coming back. His last week working with us, so we wish him well as he moves on to his next endeavors. He's been a great, loyal JU guy for the last 2 years, so we'll miss him for sure. But wanted to give him a shout-out here tonight for helping make us, me especially, sound good on a regular basis. It takes a lot of work because, I'm just a regular guy putting on a headset half the time. But it's been good working with you, Anthony, and looking forward to, hopefully there will be another good guy. I trust that 1010 always puts in somebody good to press the buttons on the other side and keep things moving straight and on the narrow. Okay, final segment here of True Talk with Coach Mincy on this Monday night. We got just a couple of minutes left here to finish things up, so I want to run through a handful of things with you, Coach. First, we've talked about it before, but we'll reset things for folks. 5 wins in a row for this team. Right now, they are tied atop the league standings through the first couple of weeks of the season. 3 weeks of conference play in the books now. 4 teams are tied atop the league standings. So we know the Dolphins are one of them. FGCU, who just picked up a win over Queens, handing them their first loss on Saturday. The Queens Royals, who we'll see on Saturday. And then the Lipscomb Bisons, who we saw in the opener and have suffered just one setback so far this season as well. So my question is, how much do you address things like this? I know you've said before, these guys all have phones. They can look up whatever they want. They can see it all. There's no point in being hush-hush about situations. But how much do you all actually as a staff address things directly or talk about where you all are in standings or I guess, scenarios and how those play out?
It's funny. We literally talked about this the other day in the office, and I remember Troy Pierce, one of our assistant coaches, he says to me, guys, I don't even know our overall record. He's like, I'm so locked in on the next game. And then anytime we start to mention or somebody in our staff or, extended staff says, hey, our overall record or, hey, this, and try to, give different stats that aren't pertaining to the game coming up, he squashes everything. He's like, hey, man, I don't care about nothing you guys are talking about right now. Let's focus on this. And so obviously we know, we're fighting for, the top of the league. But our whole thing we just been preaching to our guys is it's not about where we start. We want to finish there. We want to make sure that we do something great along the way. But the reason we're there is because our one game at a time mentality that we have.
Yeah, maybe one of the best examples of that is one of the things stats I pulled out in the last couple of games is that, hey, this is the best start for this program in conference play since 27-18. That team started 5-1 in league play. They finished 8-6, So it's like you're talking about finishing strong. You don't want to start off 5-1 and then have that as be your final league record, right? So it is an important thing to remember that you don't win championships in the first 3 weeks of a conference season, but you can set yourself in the right path at least.
Absolutely. Our guys understand. Just due to the different tasks we've already had in certain situations that occur. We've had multiple injuries where guys are playing really well and they've gone down, and so luckily we've been able to sustain some of those injuries, and our guys have stepped up around our team, and we just keep talking about next man up mentality, but at the same time it's next game up mentality as well.
Oh, perfect segue, Coach. You did my job for me. The depth on this team, a lot of coaches, you always hear this, right? Like we want to be like 7 deep or so, have our 7 guys that we can trust on a given night, maybe 8. Well, you played 8 on Thursday, you played 9 on Saturday, and you haven't been afraid to go to your bench and shake things up when you need to. No better example of that than Tito Dang coming off the bench in the first half on Saturday and igniting a spark with this team and played meaningful minutes and gave you good minutes too. So where do you feel like you can kind of lean on your depth on a game-in, game-out basis?
Our staff did a great job. I like to take all the credit, but I can't. Our staff did a great job of identifying talent with the current guys we had coming back. And so we recruited, to make sure we had depth at every position. We wanted to have 2 or 3 guys at every spot. And you see, we have multiple guys. Some of those guys have been young. And I think the biggest change that I made this season, I wanted to play our freshmen early. I wanted to make sure that I threw them in the fire. I didn't care about our non-conference schedule. A lot of people don't know. They see our record and say, hey, y'all are 6-6. But on KenPom, we had the 34th ranked strength of schedule in the country. And so when you talk about, having the number 1 strength of schedule in the ASUN, that's very telling to know that you're playing freshmen so early. And so for us, our depth is good. We tell our guys it doesn't matter. We win by committee, and so you never know who's going to be our leading scorer on any given night.
How do you feel like the freshmen are coming along at this point in the season, where they has the game slowed down for them a little bit?
It has. We're missing 2 freshmen. Enrico Borio, who played early for us, he's out, and then obviously Anakin Brown's been dealing with injuries since the start of the season, and we anticipate playing both those guys heavy minutes. And so when you think about the 2 local guys, KJ Jackson and then also Chris Aries, those guys have stepped up. They've had big shots. They made big plays throughout the course of time, and so it's just been cool to I was talking to KJ today, a local kid, just to see his experience, to see how he's been able to kind of come into his own. And he had some difficulty early, but he's really showed improvement on the defensive side of the ball, and, man, he's going to have a monster career.
Yeah, watching him, just even in the last week alone, just be more confident, ready to let that shot go when he's got the look. It's not perfect. He passed up one the other night and I saw his face as soon as he put it on the deck and passed it. He's like, he knew he had a look and he didn't take it. But for Chris Aries too, seeing him as someone who has great size is a matchup nightmare on the wing if he's playing with that sense of confidence. Yeah. Boy, he was not afraid to let it fly on Saturday. Made a couple of really big shots as part of that run that helped separate late in that game. And not to mention, you already talked about the defense, KJ getting better. Chris is, I wouldn't want him guarding me if I'm on the other team. I mean, he's long and difficult and strong for a guy who's just a freshman. It's probably the best teams are the ones that get some level of contribution from the young guys, especially as college basketball sort of phases out the older guys that have been around for a long, long time, the COVID-type guys, and you do have to start getting a little younger again, and it feels like you've got a group of guys that have been able to figure it out here as the season's gone along.
Yeah, our young guys, they understand, we've had different challenges. They play extremely hard. They love one another, and they play for each other, and so it's been inspiring, especially those young guys.
This week, heading on the road, West Georgia, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. That's a team that is new to the league this year, new to Division I basketball, but have had plenty of success at the Division II level. They made the NCAA tournament 3 out of the last 4 seasons under head coach Dave Moore. So what are you expecting from the Wolves come Thursday night?
I expect the team, it's their first home game. They've been on the road for their first 4. That's hard for any team. I've been there before, especially, the last 2 seasons. And so they're going to have their home game. They're going to have their fans behind them. It's going to be an intense environment. And so for us, our guys have to be, mentally tough to understand. You're going on the road. It's a well-coached team. Dave Moore does an unbelievable job. He's had success for a reason. And so we have to, staff, players, everybody in our program has to be mentally locked in.
And then you go after that one. Can't look past it, but there is a big one looming there on Saturday as well, in a matchup of 2 teams who right now, and I've got the wrong record written down on my sheet here, Coach, but right now are both just 1-loss teams sitting at the top of the league standings, and could be a matchup for, quote-unquote stay in first place or move into first place come Saturday. Queens, you're much more familiar with them, played them a couple of times since they moved up to Division I just 3 years ago. Grant Leonard, their head coach, a friend of yours, and they are playing, they've always kind of played a little breakneck, and they want to get up and down and score against you, but they've really kind of honed it in this year, it seems.
Yeah, Grant Leonard, their head coach, is one of my best friends, man. He's awesome. We talk at least once a week. Oftentimes, he's helped me a lot just with the, simplicity of the game and saying, hey, he literally laughed about it and said, hey, Mince, I'm going to run 3 plays. We're going to play fast. And then people can stop them good, but if they can't, majority of the time it ends in wins. And so just being able to know that he goes out with a certain level of confidence always is helpful, and I look forward to playing that game as well.
Well, there are 2 big ones coming up this week. I mean, they're all big, certainly, but will be exciting to see how the Dolphins continue things. Again, that's West Georgia on Thursday. That's the next game, 7 o'clock tip. And then Queens on Saturday. That is a 1 o'clock tip-off in Charlotte. All right, as we get ready to wrap things up here, Coach, I do want to give a shout-out to the women's basketball program. They are at home this week, and so students back on campus for the first time to be able to watch the women's team, and we certainly hope that folks come out and support them. Thursday night, 6:30 against West Georgia. It is Military, Medical, and Teacher Appreciation Night, and then Saturday they've got Queens at 2 o'clock for Beach Day. And I know you've got a good relationship and connection with the women's program and Coach Special Jennings, sharing the same hallway and the same kind of facility to work and practice in and stuff like that. But what have you seen from a kind of an outsider's perspective from the women's program so far this year?
They are fully healthy. They got all their players back. They won last game. I'm telling you, they about to turn up, especially this week. So make sure you come out and support them.
A big comeback effort to win against Austin Peay last Saturday. Great to see him turn around and get that. And, yeah, boy, you know it. You get all the full complement of pieces. It goes a long way toward helping. That is for sure. All right, as we get ready to wrap things up, I always like to ask you about this, Coach, because it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day here today, and you are a black man who certainly has benefited from the just very powerful work of Dr. King and those that fought in the civil rights movement with him and since him over the years to help create opportunities for people like yourself. So what does this day mean to you and everyone that has been able to see the fruits of that labor?
It means everything to us. After practice, one of the first things that we did, we went downstairs and we played a video of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And we wanted our guys, to ask them, in-depth questions. What did you take from his speech? What do you understand? Do you understand how much, his sacrifice and the amount of time and effort that he put in, it allowed for you to have the opportunity you have today. And so to be able to understand, the impression and just how our lives have changed so much because of the amount of time and the energy that he put in to allow for us to be successful, man. It's amazing to see his reach. And I just want to make, a person like Martin Luther King proud every day that you walk this earth.
And a great lesson for all of the young guys, too, to take on the team as well. So glad that you all had a chance to do that. All right, thanks to everybody for putting together another great True Talk this week. Thanks to our special guest, Sha'Carri Mack. Thanks to Anthony Silvera back on the 1010XL studios. For Coach Mincy, I'm Scott Manzi saying so long. This has been True Talk with Coach Mincy from Bono's Barbecue on Merrill Road in 295 here on 1010XL.